Church. When you look above, get the inspiration for that brotherly love. Facts Church. When you look around you...
Good evening. Welcome to the First Atheist Church of True Science for our monthly meeting on February 23rd, 2009. We meet every new moon on the Monday closest to the new moon, the moon day. And we do so because the new moon, there's no moon in the night sky. And we can look out after our meeting, which we always do, and look further back in time and further out in distance and just marvel at the expanse and the great fortune that we have to actually be alive, whatever that means. So welcome, and we're glad you could be with us. Now today we're going to talk about Blaise Pascal. I don't know how many of you are familiar with him. We're going to talk about Pascal's wager, which you may have heard about. Blaise Pascal was born in 1623. He was a Frenchman. And to put that in perspective, 1623 was 13 years after Galileo discovered the moons around Jupiter, thereby proving that the Earth went around the sun. It was a little heretical back then in those ages. And it was also 3 years after the Pilgrims settled in Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts, just to put it in perspective. Now, Blaise Pascal was a mathematician brilliant. In the early parts of his life, he created what is the first mechanical calculator. But later on, he kind of gave up his interest in mathematics and became much more interested in religion. And he came to the idea, what's known as Pascal's wager. He said, wait a second. He said, you could believe in God or not believe in God. But I think you should believe in God, said Pascal. Because if you don't believe in God and you're wrong and you're correct, well, no big deal. It doesn't matter, you didn't do anything. But if you don't believe in God and you're incorrect, that God does exist, well, then you're going to miss out on all the good fortune because God wants you to believe in him. We're going to talk about that in a second. Now, I'm very excited tonight because we have two people joining with us who will actually, they don't realize it, but they're going to impart a little insight into this question. And I'm excited because they could show up tonight. So without any further ado, Bill and Richard are here, and let's hear what they have to say.
Personal story segment tonight. Do you believe in God? Increasingly, fewer Americans do. According to a Pew poll, 12% of us do not have a belief in a higher power, up from 8% in 1987, and that group includes agnostics. In Europe, the rise of atheism and of Gnosticism is stunning. According to a Zuckerman study, in Sweden, as many as 85% of the population are non-believers. Japan, 65%. France, 54%. And in Britain, 44% do not believe in God in Great Britain. Listen now is a man who understands that position. Richard Dawkins, the author of the mega-selling best book, The God Delusion. I think it takes more faith to be like you, an atheist, than like me, a believer, and it's because of nature. You know, I just don't think we could have lucked out to have the tides come in, the tides go out, sun go up, sun go down. Don't think it could have happened.
We have a very full understanding of why the tides go in, the tides go out, of why the continents drift about, of why life is there. Science is ever more piling on the evidence, piling on the understanding.
But it had to get there. I understand that the physiology of it, if you will, but it had to come from somewhere. And that is the leap of faith that you guys make, that it just happened.
Well, a leap of faith, you don't actually need a leap of faith. You're the one who needs a leap of faith because the onus is on you to say why you believe in something. There's an infinite number of gods you could believe in. I take it you don't believe in Zeus or Apollo or Thor. You believe in, presumably, the Christian God, Jesus.
See, Jesus was a real guy. I could see him.
Yeah.
You know, and I know what he did. And so I'm not positive that Jesus is God, but I'm throwing in with Jesus rather than throwing in with you guys, because you guys can't tell me how it all got here. You guys don't know.
We're working on it. Physicists are working.
When you get it, then maybe I'll listen.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, if you look at the history of science over the centuries, the amount that's gained in knowledge each century is stupendous. In the beginning of the 21st century, we don't know everything. We have to be humble. We have to, in humility, say that there's a lot that we still don't know.
And, you know, being humble is a Christian virtue.
Well,
there you go.
Of course it is.
All right, when you guys figure it out, then you come back here and tell me, because until that time, I'm sticking with Judeo-Christian philosophy and my religion of Roman Catholicism because it helps me as a person.
That's different. If it helps you, that's
absolutely.
Great.
And
that doesn't mean it's true.
Well, it's true for me. You see, I believe.
You mean true for you is different from true for anybody else? How can something be
absolutely,
true for you?
Because I can't
Something's either got to be true or not.
I can't prove to you that Jesus is God. So that truth is mine and mine alone. But you can't prove to me that Jesus is not. So you have to stay in your little
You can't
belief
prove
system.
that Zeus is not. You can't prove that Apollo is not. Or
Well, I
Mithras
saw
is not.
Apollo, man. He was down there. He's not looking good. Now, we also differ in the sense that you feel that religion has been a bane, B-A-N-E, to civilization, and I feel atheism has. And I will point to the worst mass murderers in modern times: Hitler, Stalin, Mao, and Pol Pot. All confirmed atheists, all people who wanted to wipe out religion. Now, I know you can point to the Crusades and you can point to Al-Qaeda right now. I mean, it's there, and there's no question. But I say that I'm thrown in with the founding fathers of the United States, which saw religion, spirituality, as a moderating influence, as a good thing if people embrace the true tenets. Go
The
ahead.
founding fathers of the United States were secularists above all. Some of them were religious, some of them were not, but they were above all secularists who believed in keeping church and state
They had to
separate.
because of the oppression in Europe.
That was what they were,
Right.
precisely.
But
I mean, that was what they were
almost
doing.
all of them, they all said a prayer before their deliberations. In their letters, and I have almost all their letters, they all reference the deity. Our Declaration of Independence references heavily. But they saw it as a moderating influence because the federal government at that point couldn't control the country. And they said, you know, if
yeah.
people follow Jesus, then the country's going to be better.
It may well be a moderating influence. As for Hitler and Stalin and so on, I mean, of course, Hitler, by the way, was a Roman Catholic.
No, he
And
never was. He was raised in that home,
Yeah, well,
but he rejected it early
okay,
on.
We can dispute that. Stalin was an atheist, no question. But Stalin did the bad things he did, not because he was an atheist. I mean, Hitler and Stalin both had moustaches, but we don't say it was their moustaches that made them evil.
I don't think they had any moral foundation, any of those guys. I will
I
say,
don't either.
your book is fascinating, and you know, congratulations on your success. Thanks for coming on in here.
Thank you very much indeed.
Welcome back.
Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? Now I'm going to comment a little about what they just said, and I realize this is kind of presumptuous and maybe even foolish to try to improve upon what Richard Dawkins says. I mean, he's so good. Although he cheats, I have to say. He's got that British accent, as you know, and you can say anything with a British accent and sound incredibly intelligent, although clearly he really is. I have a disadvantage. I'm from New York, and you know, when I talk about the water and stuff like that, I can't sound too smart. Actually, I also spent a lot of time in New Jersey. That's not much of a help. You know, with the toity-doity boys was sitting on the quoy, choiping and boiping and eating doity worms when along comes a squite with a squite named Goit, worked in a schweit factory in New Jersey. You know, when they see these toity-doity boys sitting on the quoy, choiping and boiping and eating doity worms, boy, was they perturbed. But anyhow, let's get back to Pascal's wager. Now, I'm going to get to that in 1 second. Before, let me just talk about what I saw, at least in Bill O'Reilly's approach, and also Richard Dawkins to some degree. Again, it's hard to improve upon what Richard says, but I have more time, so I'm cheating, actually.